This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. A little bit of a comparison video today for you. It's often said, often by me, that a Les Paul can sound a lot like a Telecaster, a beefier version of a Telecaster. A Telecaster on steroids is often the cliche that gets trotted out, as I say, often by yours truly. And, you know, a good example of this would be, I guess, Jimmy Page. Now, if you are a real Led Zeppelin aficionado and you know all of the ins and outs of the band, then I'm sure you can probably pinpoint the exact track where Jimmy Page went from using Telecasters to using Les Pauls. I'm not that much of a Led Zeppelin nerd, so I don't know. But, I mean, for instance, Jimmy insists that he played a Telecaster on the solo from Stairway to Heaven, but Joe Walsh, in an interview he gave to Guitar Player magazine back in the 80s, insists that he knows that the guitar that was played on that was the Les Paul that he gave or sold. I'm not quite sure on the transactional nature of this, but certainly Jimmy Page got a Les Paul from Joe Walsh, and Joe insists that that is the guitar that's on the track. And, it is often said that the two guitars can sound quite similar. So what I thought I'd do today is pit a Les Paul against a Telecaster. I've never really done it before. I've used a Les Paul and a Telecaster in the same track before, but usually to do different things, not trying to kind of see how close they sounded. So for the purposes of this demonstration today, we will be using this guitar. This is my wonderful deluxe Nashville Telecaster that was very, very generously given to me as a gift by a student of mine, a viewer of this channel, and also a good friend called Joe. And Joe gave me this guitar. Now, usually on thank you, Joe, by the way, thank you. This is I treasure this guitar. I can't tell you how much it means that you were so generous to give me it. But usually on a Nashville Telecaster, you're kind of missing one of the sounds that you typically get on a Tele, which is the bridge and neck pickups on together. But I've installed this little switch here, which means that when I'm on the bridge pickup, I flick that switch down and I've got the usual middle position setting on the Telecaster. Just before anybody shouts at me in the comments that I'm not getting the correct middle pickup sound. And up against that Telecaster, we are pitting, of course, my Gibson Les Paul Tribute. So what's coming up next is a little kind of blues rock, kind of classic rock kind of thing that has some crunchy power chords and riffing kind of stuff going on, some clean arpeggiated chords, a little bit of clean lead guitar, and of course the usual kind of shouty high again solo stuff. And you're going to hear both guitars playing roughly the same kind of parts to see how they compare. And as always, you'll find a full tab for that piece of music in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it and a jam track for you to play along with yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is in the description. As I'm sure you know by now, $3 or £2.50 a month gets you access to all of these additional goodies that go along with these YouTube videos. A massive, massive heartfelt thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are linked down in the description. For the tones I was getting there, it was all courtesy of the Blue Guitar Amp 1 Mercury Edition on the what's it called, the Vintage channel, which, as I keep on telling you, is a very plexy kind of sounding tone, and makes me smile. I do like that sound. For the cleaner sounds, all I was doing was just backing off the relevant volume control on the relevant guitar, and for the higher gain stuff, I was throwing the New X Horseman pedal overdrive into the front end of it, which, as I've said in previous videos, that combination is probably the sound that I've been happiest with for the, well, I've never been happier than I am now with the guitar sounds that I'm getting with that combination. And of course you could probably hear a little bit of chorus on those arpeggiated chords if you were listening closely. So there you go, that is a Les Paul and a Telecaster side by side, and yeah, it's they're not as similar as is often quoted, or they certainly didn't come across as being as similar in that little demonstration there. I think in isolation, what happens is you have an idea of a sound in your head, that this is how that particular guitar, Telecaster or Les Paul, is supposed to sound. And when you get sort of something that has something of the whiff of it, something that has some of the kind of tonal characteristics of that particular guitar, whichever way around you're thinking, to it, then you think, dear me, that sounds like a Telecaster if you're playing on a Les Paul, or that sounds like a Les Paul if you're playing on a Telecaster. But you put them side by side, and certainly there in that particular piece of music, you could, there was no doubt. I mean, obviously you could see which guitar was which, but it was just obvious from the tones as well. Perhaps if I was to, kind of tweak the settings on the amp and kind of start messing around like that, if I was really trying to kind of make the guitars sound as similar as possible, they would have sounded closer. But that wasn't the point of this. This was just to see whether or not they did, out of the box in the same settings, have that, kind of similar sounds. And I don't think they do. Certainly this Telecaster and this Les Paul. That said, I might be up for doing a comparison between this guitar and a Telecaster. This is my latest single cut acquisition. You've seen this a couple of times already. The Sire Larry Carlton L7. This is a much brighter, spankier sounding guitar than this. So, and as I said when I reviewed this guitar, and did the comparison with this one, I did say that, both of these guitars are within the spectrum of sounds that you expect to get out of a Les Paul, but this one is towards the brighter end of that spectrum. So, yeah, that might be something I could spin out into another video. Let me know what you think down in the comments about whether I should do that comparison, because one of the things that I did say about this guitar when I was initially reviewing it was, it sounds a lot like a Telecaster, the Les Paul that is the beefier version of the Telecaster kind of thing. I trotted that cliche out, as I often did. So let me know whether you want to see that comparison. But otherwise, that is pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this little comparison, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and whatever else crops up. Fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.